ahead of us from positions where we were told there were Iraqi military forces. And in the last few seconds, we heard gunfire also
on Iraq.
As Kirkuk slipped out of Kurdish hands, the exodus began. Desperate civilians heading north towards the autonomous Kurdish region. It felt like the city was emptying before our eyes. Some asking why no one was helping them after they helped the world to fight IS.
The world is just silent when it comes to Kurds. It's just, it's not fair. It's not fair.
By evening, an Iraqi victory parade in the center of Kirkuk. Baghdad said the takeover was largely unopposed. Some locals in this ethnically mixed city welcoming the troops. But a fractured country is now divided anew. Orla Guerin, BBC News, Kirkuk.
I don't really understand the story.
More than 300 people were killed in Somalia following what has become the country's single deadliest terror attack. Hundreds of others were injured when a truck exploded Saturday in the capital city of Mogadishu. The government has blamed the attack on the Al-Shabaab terrorist group, which is linked to Al-Qaeda.
Oh my God.
The Office of the White House press secretary released a statement on the attacks, saying in part, quote, "Terrorist organizations are the enemies of all civilized people. The United States stands with the people and government of Somalia in their commitment to defeating these groups, ensuring the security of their people, and rebuilding their country." The man responsible for planting 2 pressure cooker bombs in New York City last year was convicted of all charges Monday.
Good.
29-year-old Ahmad Khan Rahami was convicted on charges including using a weapon of mass destruction and bombing a public place. Monday's verdict came after a 2-week trial that took place in Manhattan. According to the prosecution, Rahami considered himself a soldier in a holy war against Americans. Rahami planted the bombs in September 2016. One of them injured.
I don't remember any God saying America must die. So man, I don't think what he's saying is true. I don't think it's a war against holy war against Americans. I don't think any God has ever said go out and kill fat Americans. No gods have said that.
Army Sergeant Bo Bergdahl pleaded guilty in military court on Monday to desertion and misbehavior toward the enemy. The charges could put him in prison for life. Bergdahl was a Taliban captive for 5 years after walking off his post in 2009. Some of Bergdahl's comrades were seriously wounded during search and recovery missions for him. He was freed in a prisoner swap in 2014 that was approved by then-President Barack Obama.
Oh my God, man. That's messed up. You're in the army to protect. Yeah, you can't protect your own people working with you, and then you basically stab them in the back.
The prosecution scored a victory Monday in its case against Democratic Senator Robert Menendez of New Jersey. Judge William Walls declined to throw out any of the charges Menendez faces. He's accused of accepting lavish bribes from wealthy Florida eye doctor Solomon Melgen. Melgen allegedly provided.
And another reason why politicians are corrupt.
Menendez with gifts such as private jet flights and stays at luxury hotels in exchange for pressuring government officials on Melgen's behalf. Ricky Kleeman is a CBS News legal analyst, and she joins me now with more. All right, Ricky, so what are the implications now of the judge's decision moving forward?
Well, beyond the fact that I think it was a surprise to many of us who have been following this case, because the judge was so troubled with the theory that the government presented. The ultimate implications are process. And what do I mean by process? The defense has started its case. The defense began with a family witness, probably a smart way to humanize the defendant. And the case will eventually go through all of the evidence on the defense side. Keep in mind the defense has no burden of proof solely on the government beyond a reasonable doubt. Ultimately, you'd have closing arguments and the case will go to a jury. Now, the judge still has an option here. Just because the judge did not at this moment in time throw out the case or grant what is called a motion for a directed verdict, or in other circles a motion for judgment of acquittal, that judge can, at the end of the case, should the jury decide to find Senator Menendez guilty, the judge can still go back.
Maybe keep better tabs on the senators and make sure they don't take bribes in the first place. Like, geez.
And find that Senator Menendez would be found not guilty, notwithstanding the verdict. So in many ways, the judge has punted. What he may be hoping for is that the jury does his work for him, and the jury decides that Mr. Menendez, Senator Menendez, is not guilty.
Interesting. All right. Well, Judge William Wells rejected Menendez's lawyer's request to throw out any of the charges the senator is facing, as you noted. But what was the judge's reasoning here? It's a pretty complicated kind of thing when you talk about the legal aspects of it, but there was another case that the lawyers were pointing to help with the Menendez defense.
Many people have heard about the McDonald case.
Right.
And
So am I supposed to be rooting for Mendez? Like, I'm confused here.
the McDonald case concerns a governor. And the reason they've heard about it is because in their own jurisdiction, they have seen the lives of very corrupt politicians be convicted at trial. And then, lo and behold, the case is reversed. Why? Because of the McDonald ruling. And what the McDonald ruling, in an 8-0 decision of the United States Supreme Court, was it talked about what is really a corrupt act. Simply arranging a meeting, simply putting people together is not a quote-unquote corrupt act enough for bribery. So what was being argued in this case, in Senator Menendez's case, was to say, okay, you may have the quid, where's the pro quo?
Right.
Where does it meet? That is, you can't just say, if I got a plane trip, I did X for that plane trip.
I mean, there's kind of a point there. I think someone's like, yo, bro, you can go on a plane trip. Heck yeah, I'm going to accept that plane trip. So, I can see that point.
If I got a fancy hotel suite, I did Y. So what?
Yeah, exactly. I'm not taking sides. I'm going to play devil's advocate. Also, if I got a fancy hotel suite, yeah, I'm going to take it. Doesn't mean I'm going to do something for them. Obligated to do something for them, but I'm not going to do something illegal for them.
The government attempted to argue, and what ultimately the judge must have bought in order for the case to go forward, is what we now call a stream of benefits. That is, you can't quite pin the tail on this quid for this quo, but it's a long time relationship that for all of these favors that Senator Menendez allegedly, and I say allegedly because it's not proven guilty yet before a jury beyond a reasonable doubt, that he did favors for Solomon Melgen. Well, maybe yes, maybe no. This is a long-term, long-time friendship. So stream of benefits versus quid pro quo, that's going to become the ultimate legal issue.
So following up on this friendship notion, Menendez's defense team is now going to be presenting its case. So what can we expect to
Yeah, if I'm friends with someone, I'm going to accept plane trips from them.
hear from defense attorneys?
I would assume that we're going to find out they've been friends forever. The closer they are.
Yeah, we've been friends. How long now? Like 60 years? Yeah. Definitely not a couple years ago. Not at some politician's banquet. No. We've been friends for like a while. A couple years. 7 years. We're good friends. No, I don't. Yeah, that's right. I was gonna go down. We've been friends for like 7 years. In truth, we've been friends for like 1.
The more they did together, the more involved they are, the harder it is to pick apart whether or not there were corrupt acts in exchange.
We've been friends. There's nothing corrupt we've done. No, I don't accept bribes.
For the lavish gifts.
All right, we'll be watching it all closely.
Lavish gifts. Yeah.
Ricky Kleeman, thank you so much, Ricky.
Thanks, Elaine.
Up next, the Me Too movement. Social media is being flooded with personal stories of assault in the wake of the Harvey Weinstein scandal. And
Don't assault people. Just stop that.
caught on camera a neutron star collision, how it's sparking a new era in astronomy.